Welcome, everyone. Today we have Zevi Eckhaus, Bryant QB, on for the podcast. Starting off, take me back to your recruitment process. What ultimately led you to your decision to Bryant? And additionally, was there anything that surprised you or anything you found difficult about it?
Yeah, I mean the whole recruitment process was pretty difficult to hold. There's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of advertising, there's a whole bunch going on, and it's really a lot of uncertainty because you're not. Well, I mean, everyone's different, but for some coaches, you're not communicating with them every day, and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to find time, especially when you think of schools like Bryant. On the East Coast, there's a 3 hour difference, so you have to try and accommodate with that. Um, but if I could just reflect on my whole recruitment process, I mean, it wasn't a very large, I didn't have a large following, and I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy that there were some schools that were interested in me, and they wanted me to play, at their school. And yeah, ultimately, Bryant, I credits them. They stuck around. They were very persistent, in wanting to have me, and there was no senior season for high school out here, so I was being a little bit more patient than I would have, but when I was ready to commit, they were still there, and I thought that it would be a great fit for me. So that kind of helped me make that decision.
Mm-hmm. And looking back at your first year in the program, you had an outstanding freshman campaign, being in the top one or two in every major passing category in the Northeast Conference, but also individual stats alone, as well as being named a finalist for the Jerry Rice Award. In your own words, what do all these numbers mean to you? And with that being said, how do you handle all of that while keeping focused on the field and keeping that tunnel vision every day?
Right. I mean, it's going to sound very humbling, but those numbers mean nothing to me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, when you look at a goal of a football team, and just that alone, a football team, it's a collective group. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just one person. I could throw for 15,000 yards and 80
Yeah.
touchdowns, and if we don't finish the season with a ring or a conference championship, then the ultimate goal wasn't accomplished. So I mean, it's great that I could have those accolades and it could speak for itself or whatever it may be. But for me personally, I'd much rather have the ring and the hardware and the
Mm-hmm.
legacy at the end of the year. And but with all those individual accomplishments, I look at them as team accomplishments. I'm not you know, I'm not a Jerry Rice Award nominee if, my receivers aren't running routes and making, catches, if my running backs not helping me block, if my linemen aren't, doing their job. So it's a team effort, it's a collective group. So for me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I think of that as although it doesn't get labeled as it's really a collective award.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone unaware, I also had your teammate Fabrice on the podcast, and I asked him about Brian and its environment, but especially what he thought made them different. He went on to say it offers a great experience being a business school, but also how he quoted the players as being dogs and always there
Right.
to make anyone or one another better. But when asking you specifically, what has your individual experience been like? But also, what are your thoughts about what your teammates has to say and how you can
Mhm.
back that up and how true is that?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, just my own personal experience, I'd say it's been a lot of fun. I'm very far from home, coming from Los Angeles, but since the moment I walked in, I never really felt away from home. Everybody's very welcoming. Everybody's very courageous and inspiring of one another. I mean, you got to think about it. You're put into this new environment, and really, essentially, you're just all focusing on one thing, and that's to win. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to find ways to do that, and you got to find ways to do it the positive in a positive and healthy environment. So all these guys, they come together, and it really is a brotherhood. I know they say that, and you
Mm-hmm.
hear that a lot, but it really is. It's a really nice thing to be a part of. And the academic ability that you can really pursue with at Bryan, and just the options have been incredible. Just the school alone has a name for itself. So to be able to play football and then kind of create a name for that as well, that's just to add on to what Brian has to offer. But backing on of what Fabrice said, yeah, I mean, everybody's dogs, and what he means by that, everybody just wants to work, everybody wants to grind. There's a lot of kids in there, um, especially through COVID, who had some really, unfortunate circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But, are very grateful to be at Bryant, and, they're maximizing, all their opportunities. When he says we're dogs, it's in the classroom, it's on the field, it's in the workout room, it's in the film room. We're just constantly trying to, find better ways to improve our game and help one another get better along the way.
Mm-hmm. And when you say how you guys are all together as one, how much of an impact do you think it makes being able to be on that same page with the coaching staff and players in terms of individual confidence and just being able to be on that same page every day?
Yeah, no, it's really important. I mean, you got to look at the outside perspective. These are guys you're going to war with. So the more that you can get to know them, the more that you can spend time with them. I just feel like it's the better you're going to be. I feel like that's why we're going to be so much better next year because, there's a lot of guys who are new that played this year, and there's some transfers, whatever it is. But we got some guys coming back, a lot of guys coming back, and the guys that were new are no longer new. So it's really important for everybody to build that camaraderie and, like you said, become as one. I think that it helps a lot, if you can have that trust, that relationship with your coach. It gives you that ability to know that you can go out there and do it, and he's going to believe in you. And likewise with the teammates, if you can build a chemistry with them, whether it's on or off the field or both, that he'll believe in you, and when it's his time, you'll believe in him. It's it works back and forth. So I definitely second what Fabrice has to say on that, and it does help a lot.
Mm-hmm. And when talking about your high school days, you threw for 10,210 yards, which broke the previous record held by QB Darius Banks. You could have thrown for more, but I think you went down with an injury. But first, take me through what you first were feeling like when you found out. But also, didn't he even call you? What was that like?
Yeah, no. So Darius, yeah, he gave me a call. He gave me a call today, and that was awesome because
Mm-hmm.
just for any quarterback that goes through Culver City High School, the legacy that Darius Banks has left behind. I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback, to come through Culver City High School. So to be able to talk to someone like him and congratulate me was truly amazing. It was really cool. It wasn't a long conversation, but it meant a lot.
Yeah.
Darius Banks really, I think he really paved the way for what Culver City has become. And I don't think that the program, is what they are today, without what he was able to create in 07 in those days. I mean, he was one of the greatest to step on the field, probably one of the greatest to ever wear a Culver City jersey.
Mm-hmm. And when talking about recruitment, all the NIL deals and everything in between that takes place for any given athlete wanting to pursue a collegiate career in their respective sport, many, or if not all, can agree that this could be a lot to handle. There's also a lot of distractions. But in your own words, what advice would you have to share with anyone regarding the process as a whole and what they can do to just keep focused and not rush into anything too quickly?
Yeah, I think the biggest factor of all that is you just got to remember what you're doing this for. We're here to play football, and by all means, NILs are important, and I think that it's a gift that has been given to all the college athletes around the world, and I think that everyone should take advantage of it. It's out there for us to grasp. Why not? It's another opportunity for athletes. They should definitely take advantage of it, but as long as it's not interfering, like on field or on court or wherever they're playing, because at the end of the day, you're getting those NILs for a reason because you have a great way to provide, or you have a great way to product on the field or wherever you're playing. That just has to remain, your priority. Like I said, I think all players should be taking advantage of this. It's one of the greatest things, to have been done to college athletes, and we're lucky to be a part of that era. But we just have to make sure that we don't let that get in the way of, what we're trying to do. We're trying to win games. We're trying to, get to the league one day. So as long as it doesn't interfere with that primary, goal, by all means, you get as many as you can.
Or take full advantage of it is what you're saying.
100%.
And for you personally, what has it been like growing up with 5 siblings? I've had 2 siblings of my own, an older and younger sister, and space can get crowded. But what would you say or how much of an impact have your siblings had on you in your life for now, but also your impact on them growing up?
Yeah, it's been a lot, in all great ways. I was fortunate to have, older sisters growing up, and they kind of took me under their wing and kind of made sure that, I learned from their mistakes and that, I stayed on a good path growing up, which ultimately, helped me become the teenager that I was. And then I had younger brothers, and a younger sister. And it just, it changed the whole entire platform, because I was that guy who was under the wing, and now I was the guy who was man in the wing. You know what I mean? I had to kind of kick it up a notch so that the younger ones can learn from what I learned from. So yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed and grateful to have, siblings in my life, and just, the ability to learn from them, and then, to impact them as well. My younger brothers, they think of me as role models. So, I try my best every day to, to show them, how a good person, is and acts and lives. So, I want them to be, the greatest that they can be, if not better than me. I definitely want them to be better than me, and learn from my mistakes, because, nobody's perfect. But, it's a really cool thing to have that type of impact on people younger than you, because they really look up to you, and you have a lot of ability to pave their way and really inspire them, just like I was inspired when I was younger. So I really try my best to inspire them as much as I can.
And in addition to this, if you ask anyone, they always have that special someone or group of people that mean a lot to them and what they've become over the years. Who was that person to you? And if they were listening, what would you say?
Yeah, it's got to be my mom. My mom has definitely inspired me growing up. I mean, she was she was a single mom. She was a single mom, raised 5 children on her own. She's a warrior. She's a trooper. She goes to war for her kids, and she's really dedicated her life to them. I have a sister all the way up to 26 years old, and a brother as young as 10. So her life has really been dedicated to her children, and she's just a warrior. She's a soldier. She's a fighter. Mom, if you're listening, I love you. She really paved the way for me, and I really could not be here today without her. Not at all.
Of course. And last year there was an article written about you in the Culver City News where you're quoted saying, to be a role model for the kids is important, because I remember being that little kid. To be able to make a connection at any level means a lot to me. One day those kids will remember those moments. It's very heartwarming for me, and I appreciate it. To reiterate, what does this not only say about you and your character, but how those kind of quotes and actions might be able to benefit you and your potential experiences going down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just speaks for the person I am. I'm like I said in the quote, I was that kid, that was, I was that kid that was really young and looking up to all these high school, college, an NFL kid. I mean, adults, it was just like, wow, like I want to be that someday. And, in that world, in the NFL and the collegiate world and the high school world, even there's a lot of fame that comes with that. And there's a lot of pressure on these people. So, it's understandable for a lot of people to just want to avoid that, because it can be a lot, but I think that if you have a pedestal and you have the ability to, inspire a child or help them in any way, whatever it might be, it could be as small as just giving them a high five or a picture, why not, so I always try and live by that and hope that I can, inspire someone in some way. You're never going to know who you inspire sometimes. It could be something as small as, doing a nice gesture in class, or, and they remember that forever for whatever reason they attach to it. So, I try and do good things and help, younger people and hopefully that can inspire them one day, hopefully they can achieve something even greater, just from that small interaction.
And 2-part question. First, when discussing your future and time left at Bryant, what are you most looking forward to in the grand scheme of things?
I'm really looking forward to just what we can accomplish. I think that this team, this program, this coaching staff has a lot of potential. We got a lot of potential. We got a lot of great guys, a lot of young guys, a great coaching staff. Great minds. I think that this this team can shock a lot of people, and make a really deep run, in the FCS playoffs. And, I'm not going to be surprised at all if we make that run. I hope that this interaction could actually be replayed, once that day comes, because I think that we're really gonna shock a lot of people. So yeah, that I'm really looking forward to, really more so the future of the Bryant football program.
Of course. And second, I know you're early on, but when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered when your college career comes to an end? Whether that be more so remembered for what you did on the field or off the field, or even just both in general?
I want to leave a legacy. I definitely want to leave a legacy at Bryant. I want to be known for, someone who worked hard, on and off the field. When it came to football, always dedicated, always put in the time, always put in the work. And I want to be known as, a nice guy off the field. Someone who was always welcoming, someone who was always warm. Brought a smile every day. Because at the end of the day, we only live once. This is my college experience, and I want to make it to the fullest. And like I said, I hope to inspire others, along the way.
Mm-hmm. And last question, when discussing what might take place after college comes to an end, do you have any idea as so far what you might want to pursue after, whether that be football related or not?
I want to go to the league. I want to go to the league. I want to play. I want to play in the NFL. I know a lot of people, say, you got to have a plan B. You got to have a backup. And I understand where that's coming from. I don't discredit that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take someone who's, going to be a doctor or a lawyer, okay, and they're maybe 5 or 6 years into college, they're not thinking of a plan B. They still have their sights set on that career.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing should be implied to football players. If that's your career, then you have your sights set on that. Don't think of anything else. If we need to get to a plan B, cool, we'll cross that bridge. That's why I'm going to school. That's why I'm getting a degree, just like every other football player.
Mm-hmm.
But for all those kids out there that are worried about, do I need a plan B? Focus on this. Give it all you got. You never know where this could take you, where it can end up. Football is my plan, and I really hope to make it league very soon.
Of course. Once again, Zevi Eckhaus, Bryant QB. Zevi, really appreciate you taking the time and wish you nothing but the best for your future, man.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, man. Take care.
You too, man.